ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ? ನಾನು Good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll be starting with this Samiksha Bhava, that is what and all things we have to check before we actually start with the Panchkarma line of treatment, whatever may be the procedure. Before we start, we have to check few things just to see that we are on safer side and also the patient is all better. Okay, so that is the word meaning of this Samiksha Bhava. What and all things we have to check before we actually start with the procedure. It is not that once we have started, then we go on searching things. No, it is beforehand we have to be prepared for whatever complication, whatever after effects or whatever phalashruti we get, we have to be well prepared in advance. Hence, Acharya Charaka explains few Samiksha Bhavas, that is what and all you have to check before we start with the treatment. So these are the things. Like in Charaka Siddhi, he tells Samiksha dosha aushada desha kala bala satmya agni satvadi vayobalani. It is in Basti Sutri Adhyaya, mentioned under Basti Sutri Adhyaya, Charaka Siddhi, 3rd chapter. Though this shloka is mentioned in Basti Sutri Adhyaya, this is for all other. Yes, Sarojit, is there anything? Okay, so let me continue. So, though this is mentioned under Basti Sutri Adhyaya, Chakrapani mentions that for all procedures, that is Vamanadinscha Doshadin Upeksha Prayuktani Gunakarani Bhavanti. He tells, if whatever mentioned under these Samiksha Bhavas are taken care properly, then Gunakarani Bhavanti, that will give you desired effect, that is wonderful benefits can be procured. And in the same shloka at the end he tells, Sarva Karmani cha Siddhimanti. The same has to be applied. The principle whatever here mentioned, same has to applied in Sarva Karma. This is what Charaka tells. For that Chakrapani opines, Vamanadi, that is for all panchakarmas, that is vamana, etc., the same has to be followed, that is the same samiksha bhavas have to be taken care. And in the same context, Chakrapani asks us to refer Upakalpaniya Adhyaya and Roga Vichijitiya Adhyaya to have a perfect idea about this samiksha bhavas. What we are going to see in that, in Upakalpani Adhyaya, that is in Charaka Sutrasthana 15th chapter, Dasha Pariksha Bhavas have been mentioned. What are those? We can later we can go through that. And in Roga Vishikjitiya Adhyaya, Pariksha Bhavas are mentioned. That is Desha, Dosha, Beshaja, Kala, Bala, Sharira, Ahara, Satmya, Sattva, Prakriti, Vaya, Samavastha also has been mentioned. So before you proceed into the actual process of Panchakarma, all these have to be taken care. And for that we see that so this because it is mentioned under different headings, it can be studied under 3 headings. First is Bhishak, that is Chatushpadas. How through these Chatushpadas we are going to understand the process. Second is Dashavida Pariksha Bhavas, mentioned by Charaka under different headings, that is different chapters. Third is based on what Panchakarma we have selected, what we are going to do in that rogi. We'll see what has to be checked. Okay. So now let me tell you the need of this. Why we have to know beforehand the situation properly, because once we understand that this is the prakriti of the patient, this is the vayas, this is the desha he is living in, this is his bala, this is the rogi bala, this is the roga bala, etc., then there is increased rate of improvement in the vyadi, because we will select a dravya based on all this, and we'll select a panchakarma based on all this. Hence the improvement rate will be very good, and we can avoid many complications by understanding the samiksha bhavas and better and desired results. We beforehand only we will know that by doing sadhyomana in a tamakashwasa patient, this will be the result. So to achieve that, we need to check all these bhavas beforehand. Now we know through these three headings we are going to study this. And first is Chatushpada. Among that, Bishak is the main, right? We know that. So why Bishak? What Bishak has to do? He has to do selection of Rogi. And why there should be a selection? Because we are uh, planning for Shodhana, and if that patient is having Avarasattva, then he may not be able to continue with the full course of the treatment. In case of Vamana, we have to give Vamana Dravya, that is Vamaka Dravya, which may not be very palatable, which may be very, the process itself may be very inconvenient for the patient. So his sattva has to be taken care of. If in case there is a patient who needs, like Kitty Bekushta, for example, who actually needs Vamana, that is Sneha Pana, and then Vamana. It's not Sadhya Vamana, it is Sneha Purvaka Vamana. In that patient, if he is having Avarasattva, then first thing we have to do is we have to counsel the patient, we have to make him that is introduce with all the pros and cons, and also the after effect of the Vamana, etc. We have to build his confidence, then we have to go with Vamana. Or else in between, when we are doing the Vamana procedure, and if he tells that he cannot, he is afraid, he collapses, etc., then there will be lot of complications. So selection of a Rogi who is having good sattva is of prime importance here. He should be Adhya, that is, he should be rich, because all this process involves a lot of expenditure. So he should be Adhya enough to afford the procedure. He should be obedient, because there are many things which a Rogi has to do all by himself. For example, before we proceed to Vamana or Virechana, we ask the patient to consume Mashandere, that is this dahi vada, right? The previous day of Vamana, we ask the patient to consume dahi vada, and that should be in a matra to do utklesh of kapha. If he is not obedient, if he is not following what the Bhishak is telling, then the next day Vamana may not be fruitful. Hence, when we select a Rogi, we should see that he is obedient, he will be following all the instructions of the Bhishak, and he is rich enough to afford the treatment, and he is Sattvavan to follow the procedure. Then it is the responsibility of the bishop to see that appropriate shodhana or appropriate panchakarma he is selecting for the patient. Sadhyomana has to be done when already the doshas are utklishta and they are ready to come out. For example, in Tamakashwasa, already you can see that there is Gurguraka, there is Hrullasa, there is Utklesh, that is the Praseka is coming. Then just by giving the Vamaka Yoga, the patient with ease he'll be having Vamana Vegas. But if in case there is no Utklesha, but since Sadhyomana is told in Tamakashwasa, we cannot actually indicate. but it is left to the yukti of the bhishak to select appropriate shodhana in appropriate vyadhi. Then beforehand, he should be able to do the sambara sangraha, that is madana phala should be procured, yashti, or else even though we are carefully selecting the rogi and we are selecting the shodhana procedure appropriately, we have collected good dravya, our paricharaka is good. In spite of that, there may be complication. Hence, few atyayika yogas should be kept um, ready with us. So that is the responsibility of the bishop. Then selection of the dose depending on Agni Bala, Koshta, and Bala of the Rogi, Bala of Roga, etc. It is the yukti of the bishop which helps here. Then of course, Roga and Rogi Pariksha, that is if a person is having hypertension, diabetes, then bleeding disorders and esophageal varices, we can see that in esophageal varices, we have to avoid pressure on the esophagus as much as possible. Hence, in such cases, Vamana may not be a good choice. So, we should know the stages, like what stage the patient is in, and whether that he is yogya to that procedure. If he is having any other associated disorders where this procedure may harm him, so we should know all about that. For that, uh, a proper lab investigation will really help, and bishop should be prepared to face complication in spite of careful selection of roga, rogi, yoga, etc. He should have few atyayika yogas in the place. First, that was bishop. Next, coming to dravya. Here, importance of dravya is like appropriate dose to be fixed. Then appropriate yoga, because in Shwasa disorder, there is a yoga mentioned already. Pippali, Saindhava and Madhu. In Jwara, Pippali, Kalinga, Madhuka, Saindhava, Madhu, etc. have been mentioned. In Kushta, we have Kutaja, Madana, Yashti, Nimba, and Patola Kashaya has to be used. So, according to disease, we can have the dravya. And among Panchvida Kashaya Kalpana, which has to be selected, like Fanta, Kashaya, etc., or Churna Kalpana, which has to be given for that person. And the dravya should be Viryavan. It should have been collected in the recommended Rutu, in recommended desha, etc. And it should be devoid of krimi. It should be properly stored, because churnas, when it is not stored in an airtight container, there are chances of fungal infestation. So we should take care that whatever dravya we have selected, it is viryavan in nature. This is the examination of dravya. Then coming to paricharaka, he may be the attender of the patient or the therapist who is taking care of the treatment. He should be knowledgeable enough to see that if I write Niruha Basti, he should be able to see that uh, whatever the Niruha Basti, Sneham Kalkam, that is, that order should be maintained. And if I have mentioned Gomutra, he should know the quantity of Gomutra to be used in it. If I have mentioned Kshira Basti, he should know what amount of Kshira is mentioned in that. So he should have minimum knowledge about the procedure he is going to follow. And he should be able to prepare medicines. If I ask the patient to give Sitopaladi Churna, or else if I ask him to prepare Tarpanadi Samsarjana, he should know a little bit about that. With what Dravyas Tarpanadi has to be given, and the dose also, how much he has to give. He should know minimum about the dose, the Dravyas used, and the treatment, etc. Then he should prepare the patient, that is, he should prepare the patient mentally. And also, we know that before vamana we do snehana and svedana. He should be able to prepare the patient before the time, that is, vamana should be given maybe around 6:30 to 7. So before 6:30 he should prepare the patient with snehana and svedana. Then he should help us in preparation of this Fanta, Yavagu, or Basti Dravya, or whatever medicines or yogas are required, he should be able to provide us with that. And also, he should be hygienic, obedient, and compassionate towards the patient, because we know that there is a Vyapat called as Basti Data Vyapat. The person who is giving Basti, if he performs any mistake, then there is Vyapat happening due to that. Hence, the attender or the Paricharaka should be um, having little knowledge about the procedure, patient what condition he is in, yogas, and he should have a thorough understanding about what he is going to do. And it is our responsibility to see that he is having that information. Then the last but the least is important, that is Rogi. He first requirement is he should be Bishakvashya. He should be able to follow our instruction. He should have that trust and belief in the Bishak. Second is Jnapakaha. He should be able to recall the events, that if I tell him in Snehapana, for example, you should consume Sneha at around 7:30, during that is at the sunrise time, when the kapha has um, um, that is Kafakala he has to take, and Abhakta, and he should consume warm water after consuming Sneha. When I say such instruction, Rogi should be able to remember all those, and he should recall what happened first, what happened next. So his memory should be good. Then third point, as we mentioned, he should be Sattvavan. He should be able to take Shodhana. If I tell him that he has to consume Akanta Kshirapana. If he refuses to take it on the day of Vamana, that the effort what we have put is of waste, right? So he should have that willpower. So beforehand, we should check the sattva of the patient, whether he'll be able to withstand that, and he should be able to take aushadha also. And we know that in this is not alone for Panchakarma. Even for normal Shamana Chikitsa also, the patient should have good sattva. Then he should be able to follow the diet, follow up, etc. Now coming to the second point, Dasha Pariksha Bhava. We have Desha, Kala, Satmya, Bala, Vaya, etc. Right? What is the importance? I have taken few of them and I have tried to explain. Kala, we know that Sharad is a Samanya Kala for the Virechana. And in case, if you have a patient where Pitta Vriddhi is there, Prakopa is there, you have to do Virechana, then you have to create an atmosphere of Sharadrutu, and then you have to do Virechana. Then Satmya. If Kshira is already Satmya, where a patient is consuming lot of Kshira already throughout the day, then on the day of Vamana, if you give Akanta Kshirapana, then it will get digested rather than inducing Vamana. Okay, in such individuals, maybe you can give Ikshurasa, or you can give directly Yashti Madhufanta. So why you need to check Satya? I have given certain examples. Then Sattva we have discussed. Avara Sattva Shodhana is very, very difficult. Then in Prakriti, Snehapana, we know that Snehapana we like for Mrudu Koshta 3 days, for Madhyama Koshta 5 days, for Krura Koshta 7 days, we have explained. We have to explain this beforehand to the patient, because after fourth day, if the patient tells that I cannot take it anymore, but Sneha has not reached the tissues yet on fourth day in Krura Koshta person, right? In Vata Pradhana Prakriti, Snehapana is required to maximum of 7 days. If in case in between only patient refuses to take, then it will be a problem. So we have to explain him that for your prakriti, minimum of 7 days snehapana is required, so that we complete the course of that snehapana. Hence we have to check the prakriti beforehand. Then vaya, in vardhakya, though the disease is yogya for shodhana or any panchakarma, his associated disorders should be considered. Maybe he is having hypertension, he might be having carcinoma, or he might have diabetes which is uncontrolled. In such condition, we have to check the priority, whether shodhana or shamana, and if in case shodhana can be given, we have to perform it in the mrudu range only. So this few examples I have taken in Dasha Pariksha Bhava. In the same way, for all other bhavas, you can understand. So now I'll take the Purva Karma, that is depending on what Shodhana procedures we are selecting. So first is uh, so in Purva Karma, we know that it is Deepana Pachana, then Snehapana, Swedana. These are the Purva Karmas for many of our Panchkarma procedures. So you cannot blindly give Deepana Pachana also. Though it is of very means not like a major karma like Snehapana or Swedana, but Deepana Pachana has its own effect. For example, Chitrakadivati, we know that the usual, that is the commonest Deepana Pachana yoga, right? But Chitrakadivati, if you go through the ingredients, almost all the ingredients are Pippali Mula, then we have Dvauksharav Lavananicha, Chavya is there, then we have Vyosha and Chitraka. Of course, Chitrakam Pippali Moolam, द्वौक्षारौ लवणानि च व्योषं हिंगु अजमोदा च चव्यं च एकत्र योजयेत्. If you go through the yoga of Chitrakadivati, each and every drug is pitta prakopaka in nature. Okay, whether it is Chitraka, whether it is Dvaukshara, whether Lavana. Hence, Chitrakadivati basically becomes contraindicated in kapha, that is pittaja vyadhi, and also in pitta prakriti. And even when selecting Deepanapachana, see that that dravya is yogya for that patient and also for that vyadhi. And when we see the in Shadvidopakrama, we saw that if we have a patient who is Mamsala, Medhura, Bhuri, Shleshma, and if he has Vishamagni, first Rukshana has to be done before you perform Sneha Karma. That is in Sthaulya, Apabahako, etc. Rukshana in the form of Udvartana can be applied, or else Ruksha Sweda can be done before we go into the Snehapana. So this is one of the Vishishta Purva Karma which we should know. For Udvartana, we have Trifaladi and Kolakulatadi, etc. In Sthaulya, Madhumeha, and in Apabahoka, what we usually do, if we see that there is some Gaurava, Stamba, etc. is there, before we do Snehapana or Snehana Karma, we do Rukshana. That is one of the Vishishta Purva Karma which we should have knowledge. Then, during that Purva Karma, Laghu Anabhishyandi Ahara should be given. Okay, except for Vishishta Vamana Purva Karma, that is Kapha Utklesha with Dhadi Matsya Masha has to be done. And before Virechana, we ask the patient to take the previous night Pitta Utklesha Hara like pepper rasam. Not to a very great extent, but pepper rasam has to be taken. That is the Vishishta Purva Karma for Vamana and Virechana. And now we have selected, after doing Deepana Pachana, now we know that Snehapana has to be started. We should be very sure about the Sneha which we are going to select. In Kushta, we may go for Tiktaka Sneha, and in Pandu, we may go for Kalyanaka Grata, etc. So, which Sneha and what should be the dose, and how many days Snehapana has to be done, and after Snehapana, what are the conditions, like what are the rules or the restrictions mentioned in the classics that has to be um, told to the patient. And when we come to Svedana, which type of Svedana, Nadi, Bhashpa, or even sometimes we just tell hot showers for that purpose. These are the few things which we should know during Purva Karma, like where Rukshana has to be done, where Mrudu Koshta, if it is there, how many days Snehapana should be given, which type of Svedana. And before we conduct Vamana, the previous day we have to go for Kapha Utklesha. Before going for Virechana, we have to do Pitta Utklesha, etc. Then apart from this, during this process, we can even go for few lab tests where CTBT can be done, where HB can be taken care of. Like if it is very less, then we can postpone the procedure, or we can go for Snehapana, which usually is mentioned in Panduroga Chikitsa. So such things can be taken care of during the Purva Karma. These are the Samiksha Bhavas. Next, coming to that was about Purva Karma. Now coming to the Vamana Vidhi. So in Vamana Vidhi, there are few things like which yoga, how I'm going to perform the Vamana on this patient, then what Fanta, like whether Yavagu, Kshira or Ikshurasa, or what I am going to give in this patient, and uh, in what season I would like to give. These are the things which we have to take care of. So coming to Vidhi, almost all acharyas have mentioned the same, but only thing is when we take about the liquid which we give, if Kshira is Satmya, you can go for Ikshurasa or Yavago. And if we go through classics, we see that uh, Akanta Kshirapana is mentioned, or else if the patient is not okay with it, we can even go for Yavago with Grita. Um, that is after Snehana, after Abhyanga and Svedana, after Snana, you can advise Yavago, and then Vamaka Yoga can be given. And even in Vamana Yoga, we have two Vamaka Yoga and Vamanopaga. Vamaka Yoga is actually Madana Pipali with Madhu we give, and Vamanopaga we give Saindhava, we have Madhu, and we have other dravyas like Ikshurasa, Kshira, and Madhuka, etc. So we can select depending on the availability, on the palatability of the patient, because Vamana Dravya, Vamaka Dravya should be Asatmya, it should be Daurgandhya, it should be Durdarshana. That is, when you look at it, you should feel like um, puking, bhibatsa it should be. If it becomes satmya, if the patient likes that taste and if it is very palatable, then it will get digested. Dvishtartha samyogaja chardi, something which you don't like, then there will be chardi, or the vamana vega will be good. Hence, such vamaka dravya should be selected. And for vamanopaga, you can go for madhu, saindava lavana, and then madhuka, etc. That is yashtu madhufanta, etc. So that was about Vamana Yoga. And we know that in different diseases, different Vamaka Yogas have been mentioned, which we can make use of it here. And we know in Vasanta, Vasanta Rutu, we usually perform Vamana. But if a patient is there where there is Utklishta Avastha and we have to perform Vamana, then we have to create an environment, or else we have to make the atmosphere beneficial for that Vamana process. And Vamana has to be done irrespective of Rogibala in Visha, Gara, Ajirna, and Viruddhahara Sevana. Ajirna is just like Visha. Hence, in such condition, irrespective of Rogibala and the season, Vamana can be done. Usually we do Vamana in Vasanta, but it can be done as Purva Karma to Rasayana and Vajikarana also. And we should know where Sadhya Vamana has to be done and with what Dravya, what Fanta or Vamaka, Vamanopaka Dravya we can use for Sadhya Vamana. Sneha Purvaka Vamana, that is Shodhananga procedure when we are taking. We have three stages, that in Mrudu, Madhyama and Tikshna. whether my patient will be able to go for Tikshna Vamana or Madhyama Vamana. Depending on the Rogi Bala, we can plan it. And materials should be stored beforehand. That is a tub, chair with the armrest, then stove, mortar and pestle. All things which are required for Vamana procedure, we have to stored. We can have to store it beforehand. Then we should be able to um, handle the vyapat in case if it happens. For example, if there are blood streaks in the Vamana Dravya, then we have to go for Laja Tarpana with Sita. And then if there is collapse, if the patient's pulse is very feeble, if he is collapsing, and if there is giddiness, etc., we can give Siddha Makaradvaja with honey and Nagavalli Swarasa. Hence, keeping Vyapats in mind, we should keep few Atyayika Dravyas in our clinic. And if there is exhaustion, if the patient feels he is having extreme debility, you can go for with tender coconut or Kshira or Laja Tarpana. So that is about the management of Vyapat. And also, if there is Hina Yoga, if the patient is not having good Vamana Vegas, then we can use this Pippali, Amalaki, Sarshapa, Lavana with Ushnodaka repeatedly. I'll repeat it. Pippali, Amalaki, Sarshapa, Lavana with Ushnodaka has to be given repeatedly if there is Hina Vega. And now it is our responsibility to assess which type of Vega the patient has attained. That is, depending on Vegas, how many Vegas, 4, 6, 8, or Antiki, whether it is Pitta Anta, Kapha Anta, what's the end result of it, Maniki, how much quantity of the Vamana Dravya, Vamaka Dravya that is there after Vamana, we have to measure it. Then Laingiki, what are the Lakshanas seen in the patient. Depending on that, we can adopt Peyadi and Tarpanadi. We know that Peya Manda Vilepi, Akrita, Kritayusha, Akrita Mamsarasa, Krita Mamsarasa, etc. have been mentioned for Peyadi. And there is one special mentioning of Tarpanadi Samsarja Krama, where if a patient is Madhyapa, that is, if he is alcoholic, if a patient is having Vata Pitta Pradhana situation, in such condition, instead of Peyadi, we have to go for Tarpanadi Krama. And also, what we give for Tarpana, that Laja Saktu is the one which we usually indicate. Laja with Kharjura, Kharjuradi Manta, and then we can use Draksha, Sita, etc., where we are going to replenish the dhatus, lost dhatus. Hence, it is based on the assessment, that is the Vega, the Antiki, that is Maniki and Laingiki. We are going to decide the Peyadi or Samsarjana Tarpana Adi Samsarjana Krama. Hence, it is our responsibility to see which type of patient, what disease, what is the end result of the procedure, whatever we are taken, and what Tarpana. And after Samsarjana Krama, what are the things to be followed, that also we have to guide the patient. That is Ushnodakopachari, he has to that is he has to take lagu ahara for the number of days, that is parihara kala. All those things we have to guide after we do the procedure. So in the next class I would be able to take class on Virechana, and then the Pariharya Vishaya. That is, this is the point where we are going to say about what are the restrictions when we go through this Panchakarma procedures. Now in this class, we saw that what are the things we have to check before we head to do Panchakarma. In the next class, along with this Virechana Karma, I will be explaining about what things you have to restrict in a patient after he undergoes or during he is undergoing the Panchakarma procedure. So, and also in the next class, we will be dealing with Basti and Nasya. in brief, and then we'll talk about Parihara Vishas. So this topic is under the heading of Samiksha Bhava and Pariharya. One second. Yeah, Samiksha Bhava and Pariharya Vishaya in the syllabus. So Samiksha Bhava we are dealing today, and in the next class we'll be dealing with Pariharya Vishaya. So if you have any doubt, let me know. So if you have no doubts, I can end the meeting. Yeah, thank you everyone.